Just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve.com.
Welcome back to JustLeaveItToSteve.com. We're talking about the top 10 tips for investors. This is a really good time for investing in property, but there are some steps you need to take, especially when selecting the right agent.
Sure. Doing your homework is key. When you're looking at selecting a property, you need to know what you're looking for. Are you looking for small units? Maybe a 2 or 3 family. Maybe you don't have the ability to make as much money from that, but it's a little easier to manage. Maybe you want to go for be able to have more security and have more units. But it's also a little bit more difficult to manage. You have to have a little more of a challenge. So knowing what you can take on and what you want is really important in the process, and knowing where you want to buy within a certain city. You can say, or a city or town is where you want to be, but within that city or town, is there a certain segment of that town that you want to be in or you want to stay away from? That's really going to be what's important, because then it's going to allow you to kind of get rid of all the stuff that you don't want and really focus on the things that are out there that kind of meet your needs.
Number 2 on the list, get pre-approved for financing. So just as important as it is when you're buying a home to live in, right?
The key thing is if you're looking at a 4-family, well, that's only going to be a regular residential loan. If you're going for a 5-family and above, you're going for a commercial loan, which affects your interest rate. Your interest rate is going to be usually higher. It's going to affect the amount of money you have to put down on the property. So those things are really some key things that you have to really think about and say, okay, when I'm getting pre-approved, this is going to affect what I'm looking at.
Next on the list, work your numbers. What does that mean?
Working those numbers basically means, doing the income for the property, doing the expenses for the property. In those expenses obviously is included your mortgage, and figuring out at what price will that property make money. Well, maybe it makes money at the asking price, but is it necessarily going to make enough money for you to have a good return on your investment?
Now, these top 10 tips are just an example of some of the helpful information you can find on JustLeaveItToSteve.com. And anytime you have questions, you can click around the site and find the answers to them. One thing we want to stress is that when you're looking to invest in property, you need an agent who has investment experience.
Yeah, definitely. If you can find an agent that has investment experience, that's a huge, huge help to anyone whether they're starting out as a first-time investor. That's a great thing because it can help you really shorten that learning curve, or just being even with a seasoned investor, having that agent who understands the market and isn't just a salesperson who has that experience as an investor. They can go out there and give you advice or be that second set of eyes for you, which is really, really, really important.
Also important to take into account when selecting an agent for investing in property is the agent's experience and education.
Right. The key thing is not just the continuing ed classes that they take, but they can go for an extra designation, which can help, which really furthers the education. But have they done some extra reading? I've read a ton of books about investment properties and investing in real estate, and just having that extra knowledge base of reading those books and being able to talk about what other investors do.
Another important thing to take into account is the technology offered as far as the property search goes.
The property search is important because if you have a good property search that can show you, not just give you the listings, but give you all the information, pull it up on a map that shows you where those properties are so you can see where they are in relation is really, really important. Having those little things on your site that allow your client to, check information or get back in touch with you. Maybe have copies of forms that they can go and download off the site.
And next on our list is guidance and consulting, because especially when you are buying an investment property, the relationship doesn't end just at the sale.
No, it doesn't. You want someone who's going to be there to be a support person so that you can come back and call them when you maybe have to find out, what are the rents going for right now. I need somebody really great I can call on to give me an idea of what I should do for marketing. Maybe your agent has some really good ideas for marketing that they use for their properties they can use in turn for advertising, some vacancies for apartments. Those types of things are really things that your agent should be there for and want to have a long-term relationship with you, not just be there for the sale and that's it.
Next on the list is guidance and counseling, because especially when buying an investment property, that relationship shouldn't end at the point of the sale.
No, it definitely shouldn't. You want to be able to have your agent walk with you along the way and not just at the closing say good luck. Continue on from there and have a relationship with that with that client and that agent, and be able to be that consultant for life. That agent should be there for you to tell you what's the market conditions right now, what are properties selling for. Maybe it's a good time to sell your property and turn around and buy 2 more with the money you made from that. Maybe it's just getting an idea of value for your taxes. Maybe it's getting an idea of what the rents are going for, or a good way to market or advertise a vacancy in one of the apartments. Those are the things that an agent should be willing to do for you, and really should always be there for you for that.
Also important when buying for investment is making sure you're on top of the current market news.
Market news is always important, no matter if you're buying or selling. And the key thing is understanding what's affecting the market. Is the market going to continue to go up? Is it going to continue to go down? Looking outside of the general scope of what's happening and saying, okay, what's the bigger picture and how does that affect my client is really, really important.
And investors selecting an agent should also consider not just the agent, but also that agent's whole network.
Yeah, the network is really key, because you want to know that, especially if you're a first-time investor, you want to know that you can say, okay, I need a good plumber to call on, because I've never had to deal with a plumber before dealing with an investment property. And has that plumber dealt with investment properties before? Are they primarily residential? Someone who can come in and say, I need this person to come in and take care of this issue. Do you need a property manager? Having that network of professionals that the agent has is key. And a lot of agents out there don't think of that when they're working with a buyer and offering that to their clients. And my network of professionals is really key. And on JustLeaveItToSteve.com, I'm always updating that list of people, which is really important. So sometimes my clients don't even call me. They just go to the site and see what my current testimonial is for that person, and they'll select them, and they'll let me know later on that, hey, thanks for that referral because so-and-so found them on your site and I didn't even know about it.
And finally, in our top 10 list,